What's up, everybody? It's your boy aka Big Zeke, coming at y'all with another weekly inspirational thought. I pray that you and your families are doing well. And we're going to jump right into this week's thought, which is entitled Learn to be Content. Learn to be content. I have all the reference scriptures listed in the comments below, as always, and we'll get started. The first is coming from Proverbs chapter 30, verses 7 through 9, and I'm going to read the NIV version, which reads, Two things I ask of you, Lord. Do not refuse me before I die. Keep falsehood and lies far from me. Give me neither poverty nor riches, but give me only my daily bread. Otherwise, I may have too much and disown you and say, Who is the Lord? Or I may become poor and steal and so dishonor the name of my God. Okay. The next is from First Timothy chapter 6, verses 7 through 10, which I will also read the NIV. For we brought nothing into the world, and we can take nothing out of it. But if we have food and clothing, we will be content with that. Those who want to get rich fall into temptation and a trap and into many foolish and harmful desires that plunge people into ruin and destruction. For the love of money is the root of all kinds of evil. Some people, eager for money, have wandered from the faith and pierced themselves with many griefs. The next is coming from Hebrews chapter 13 and 5. The King James Version reads, Let your conversation be without covetousness, and be content with such things as ye have. For he has said, I will never leave thee nor forsake thee. And finally, Philippians chapter 4, verse 12. I'll read that in the NIV. It says, I know what it is to be in need, and I know what it is to have plenty. I have learned the secret of being content in any and every situation, whether well fed or hungry, whether living in plenty or in want. Okay? So today we're talking about learn to be content. And that's something that a lot of us still need to learn is how to be content. It's easy to get distracted with what everyone else has, and then we start wanting more, saying, Oh, I wish I had this, I wish I had that, or oh, I need more of this, or oh, I need more of that. But we're not satisfied with what God has already blessed us with. And not even just the material thing. Sometimes we're just not satisfied with where we are in life. And sometimes it's not now. I'm not saying it's wrong to want good things. But when I say be content, I mean don't get so caught up in wanting other things that you lose sight of the blessings that you have in front of you. So we have to learn to be content, be satisfied in God with what He's already blessed us with. Because once we start wanting all these other things, we'll lose focus of the blessings that we already have. We'll forget about the blessings that we have currently, and then we'll misuse them and neglect them and take advantage of them. So let's jump into the thoughts that God's blessed me with for this week. I'll have I can't talk today. I only have four. And the first reads, When we are constantly wanting more material things in our lives, like money, jewelry, clothes, etc., and fame and all of that, instead of being content with what we have in God and through God, we ultimately set ourselves up to fall into all kinds of temptations, addictions, setbacks, struggles, disappointments, and heartbreaks. We must learn to be content so that this doesn't happen because, in the end, we can't take any of the material things with us when we leave this earth anyway. And for the reference scripture for that, I mean, we just read it, First Timothy chapter 6, verses 7 through 10. For we brought nothing into the world and we can take nothing out of it. I can't take these clothes with me. I can't take whatever money I got in my bank account with me. I can't take my house with me, my car with me. I can't take things with me. But it also reads, but if we have food and clothing, we will be content with that. If we just have the base and be satisfied with the base, we'll be all right. Now, I'm not saying that, it's wrong with getting blessings or nothing like that. But, and then the scripture further goes to say, those who want to get rich fall into temptation and a trap and to many foolish and harmful desires that plunge people into ruin and destruction. For the love of money, it didn't say money, but it says the love of money is a root of all kinds of evil. Some people eager for money have wandered from the faith and pierced themselves with many grief. Like I just said, when we aren't content with the blessings that we have, we'll go away from what God has already blessed us with. I mean, look at it this way. Why should are we wasting time, worried about stuff that we can't take with us when God blesses us every day with a gift that only He can give, which is life? We wake up in the morning. We're breathing, we're blinking, we're doing what we have to do, and that's by the grace of God. And that's a big enough gift as in itself. So why would we waste our time every day getting up talking about, oh, I wish I had this, oh, I wish I had that. And I'm not acting like I've never done it because I have. So I'm saying this from my own experience. Why waste that kind of time? Oh man, I wish I had this job. I wish I had this wife. I wish I had that husband. I wish I had this amount of money. I wish I had this car. I wish I had this jewelry. I wish I had doing that constantly and stressing over that and obsessing over material things is not going to help, because it's ultimately going to take you down a path that you don't want to go, because you're going to get to the point where you want these things so bad that you'll start forgetting the blessings that God gave you, like the gift of life, the gift of having a roof over your head, the gift of having, something to eat. You'll take those things for granted because you're too busy out trying to chase the fame, the fortune, the glitz, the glamour, and all the other material things in between. So we have to be careful to keep a content mindset. Like, I'm okay, if this is all I got, then I'm fine with it, God. I thank you. I thank you for that. If you bless me with more, hey, I'm good. If you don't bless me with more, I'm still good because you got me in your hands. That's the mindset we have to develop instead of always wanting more material things, especially because of the fact we can't take this stuff with us when we leave here. When we live here, that stuff gets left right where it is. So why obsess over it and stress out over it because society is telling us we need these things, which we really don't? Why stress over these things that we don't need and we can't take with us anyway? You know? Point number 2. On various occasions throughout Scripture, God has let us know that He won't leave us or forsake us. Part of this is making sure that we have everything we need, which God definitely makes sure of every single day, and I'm truly thankful for Him for that. I thank God every day for waking me up, for keeping me, for keeping my family, for keeping my health, everything, because He makes sure that I'm taken care of on a daily basis. And everybody, we should all be thanking God daily. If you are thanking God, continue to thank Him. If you haven't been, start thanking God daily. That's what I would encourage you to do. I'm not telling anybody to do it. I'm encouraging you to do it. There's a difference, because I can't tell anybody to do anything. You know, I can only encourage and suggest. So, you know, knowing this, we should learn to be content in God, because we know that everything we need is in Him, and He will always take care of us no matter what's going on in the world. Hebrews 13:5. Let your conversation be without covetousness, and be content with such things as ye have, for He has said, I will never leave thee nor forsake thee. God won't leave us nor forsake us. We see all the stuff that's going on in the world with when the world shut down a few years with COVID. Uh, God still blessed us all to be able to have food on our tables, to have roofs over our head. Yeah, it was a struggle, and we had some things that we went through, but we were still blessed with the gift of life, and still a lot of us were still blessed to, uh, still have food on our tables, and a roof over our heads and clothing on our back in the midst of the world shutting down, in the midst of all this other stuff going on. So even in the midst of terrible tragedy and things going on, God has still blessed a lot of us to still live to tell the tale, and also to be taken care of in the midst of those troubles. So, you know, the thing about being content, if we know that God is going to take care of our every need and take care of us, and all have to do is rest in Him and trust Him and believe Him, would we want for things that like I said before, we necessarily don't need, when God already has all of our needs met and everything is taken care of? If you're content with what you have in God, you're already taken care of. There's nothing else that you're really going to need, especially when you put your trust and your faith in God, because He's always going to supply your needs. You know? So that's why I said we have to adopt this content mindset to say, okay, God, you bless me with this. If this is all I got, I thank you for it. If you bless me with more, I thank you for it. If you don't bless me with more, I thank you for that. You know, so we have to learn to be content and understand that God will always provide for us no matter what. The third thought, the Apostle Paul wrote about being content in all situations, good or bad, in Philippians 4:12. In the NIV version, he says, I know what it is to be in need, and I know what it is to have plenty. I have learned the secret of being content in any and every situation, whether well fed or hungry, whether living in plenty or in want. We should seriously consider adopting his mindset, this style of this lifestyle, this mindset that Paul talked about, and rest in the secret that he had of being content. Now, I personally believe that secret is placing your heart's content in God and not in material things. And that's my honest to God personal belief. I believe that the secret that Paul found out was that by placing his heart and his desires in God instead of material things, he learned to be content. He learned to be satisfied where he was in God because he knew that God was going to take care of him. And so by placing his heart content in God, he wasn't worried about where his next meal was coming from. He wasn't worried about the clothes that was going to be on his back. He wasn't worried about having the latest this or the newest that or the most this or the most that. He was content with being wherever God had him and whatever God had blessed him with. And Paul figured that secret out, I believe. I believe that was the secret. Because he said he knows what it's like to have plenty. He knows what it's have to be in want. But he also learned, it said he learned being content in any and every situation, whether well fed or hungry, whether living in plenty or in want. And that's a mouthful right there that he said. How is it that you consent when you're in want and when when you're hungry? He found out that secret that, okay, God, even though I'm hungry right now, I know you're gonna provide something, so I'm fine with whatever. Even if I'm not eating right this second, I know you're not gonna forsake me or leave me. Like the other scripture just said. Hebrew scripture that we read, God is not gonna leave us or forsake us. So if we're content in him, it don't matter if we hungry or in want. He's going to provide our every need. So just like Paul, we got to develop a content mindset, a content lifestyle that says, okay, God, if this is all you're blessing me with, I'm happy. I'll accept it. If you bless me with more, to God be the glory. If you don't bless me with more, to God still be the glory. That's the mindset we have to get. Because once we start wanting all these other things or looking at what everybody else got. Oh man, I wish I had that. I wish I had this. Then we start taking for granted the blessings that we have. Okay? And the final thought, and this is a long one, so bear with me, y'all. God was really talking to me on this one, but here it is. When we learn to be content in God, we will have everything that we need through him and by him. But when we're not content or satisfied with what God provides us with, we place ourselves in dangerous territory. We must learn to place our hearts in contentment in God and not in the riches and things of this world, because if we do, we're opening the door to chasing after things instead of God and possibly even disowning God just to have the things that we're chasing after. I definitely do not want to be in that situation where I'm disowning God because I'm after something on this earth that's only temporary anyway. Okay? Remember, you'll go wherever your heart's contentment is. So make sure that your heart's contentment is in God and God only. Everything we need is in him. How do I know that? Well, Matthew chapter 6 verses 19 through 21 says, lay not up for yourselves treasures upon earth, where moth and rust doth corrupt, and where thieves break through and steal. But lay up for yourselves treasures in heaven, where neither moth nor rust doth corrupt, and where thieves do not break through nor steal. For where your treasure is, there will your heart be also. And then also Proverbs chapter 30, verse 7 through 9. Two things I ask of you, Lord. Do not refuse me before I die. Keep falsehood and lies far from me. Keep me neither from give me neither poverty nor riches, but give me only my daily bread. Otherwise, I may have too much to disown you and say, who is the Lord, or I may become poor and steal and so dishonor the name of my God. So let me tackle the first part of that. Matthew chapter 6, verse 19 through 21, the very end of that. It said, "For where your treasure is, your heart, there will your heart be also." If you place your desire and your treasure on what things on this earth, then that's where your heart is going to be. But when you place your heart and your desire on God, then that's where your heart's going to be. And when you place your heart on God, the treasure that he has for us in heaven, can't nobody take that from you. Can't nobody steal that from you. But when you place your heart and your heart's contentment on stuff on this earth, like cars, clothes, jewelry, money, that stuff people can steal on this earth. They can take it from you, steal it from you. Steal it from you while you're sleeping. Shoot, in some cases, unfortunately, they're stealing from you while you're wearing it or while you're driving it. You know? And I don't know about y'all, but I would rather have a treasure that can't nobody get in and steal and can't and dust and stuff won't collect on it and it won't corrupt. I would rather have that heavenly treasure that God got in store for me. You know? And then the second part, Proverbs 30 and 7 through 9, where it talked about it, he said, the writer of that scripture said, "But give me only my daily bread. Otherwise, I may have too much and disown you and say, who is the Lord? Or I may become poor and steal so dishonor the name of my God." The writer there said, God, just give me whatever you want to give me for the day. I don't want to be rich. I don't want to be poor. He admitted, he's like, I don't want to be poor. I don't want to be rich. I don't want to be poor. But give me what I have for this day. Because if I have too much and I get riches, I don't want to be tempted to say that, to disown you and say, who is the Lord? But then if I don't have enough, I don't want to go out and dishonor you by stealing from somebody else. So we have to learn to be content. And that's just a few of the traps that we can get into if we're not content. Because when we start wanting other things, if we have too much and we still want more, or we still think we got it all, just going after material things, we'll disown God. And then if we are in a situation where we're in want, and like Paul said, he learned to be content in every situation, whether hungry or fed, well fed, whether, having plenty or being in want. If we don't learn to be content even when we're in want, then we going to go out, and it's a possibility we can go out and start stealing from people who don't deserve to be stolen from. I don't know about y'all, but I don't want to steal from nobody. I made that stupid mistake. I didn't steal from nobody, but that's a long story for another day. But I've made my mistakes. I'll say it like that. And, that's not a good feeling. You don't want to do that because you dishonor the name of God like that. No one dishonor the name of the Lord like that. We want to be honorable at all times in God. Okay? And part of that is being content, because when we learn to be content, we can always be honorable in God, because we satisfy with what he's blessed us with and what he's given us. So we ain't got to worry about going out and stealing from nobody else or thinking we're too good and high and mighty and then disowning God. At the end of the day, I'd rather be content in God, because I know he's not going to leave me nor forsake me. And I already know that everything I'm ever going to need is in him, and it comes through him. I don't know about y'all, but the stuff of this world is temporary. It's not going to last forever. Can't take it with us no way. So I'd rather be content, because at least I know by being content in God, I know that my needs are always going to be met, because he'll never leave me nor forsake me. That's all I got for this week. This was a little bit longer video, so I thank y'all for checking it out until the end. I pray that it blesses y'all. I pray that you take care of your families. I pray that you all take care of each other, love one another. We all got to learn to be content. Just learn to be content. Take care. As always, be inspired.